anyone but a Republican for president in my life. I saw your site after listening to you on Glenn Beck or Michael Medved or Fox News or wherever they saw me, and I'm hooked. I'm voting for you. I can't stomach McCain. I'm voting for you, Wayne Root. My gosh, you're exactly what I believe in. 800. Now, if you go speak to Procter & Gamble or anyone in the business world, they'll tell you each email or letter you get equals 10,000 people. 800 in the last 3 weeks is a remarkable number. On the other hand, a left libertarian, like my opponents, and I'll even name them, George Phillies, Mike Gingosi, and Steve Cubby, and now Mary Ruwart is entry, left libertarians have no shot in this election because every left-wing peace activist, anti-war human being in the United States of America is going to either vote for Barack Obama, one of the most charismatic politicians of our generation, or Hillary Clinton, one of the most high-profile and strongest-willed, biggest personalities of our generation. They'll both have a hard time getting independents and Republicans, but every left of center voter in this country will have no trouble voting for Barack or Hillary. There is no one left for the Libertarian Party. That's why I believe that I am the hope for this party to be finally a credible third-party candidate who can break through to the media. And I'll give you one last one. I got to give you another one. I think you could tell now I have personality. Bigger than life personality. And none of my opponents have that. And that's been the problem with the Libertarian Party. I constantly get told libertarians can't get in the news media. They won't let you on Fox News. They won't let you on Glenn Beck or Michael Medved. Well, how come I've been let on? Is it because I have some magic formula? No. It's because the media doesn't care what your politics are. The media, even though they portray themselves as unbiased, and even though I portray them as liberal, the reality is they're actually far more greedy than any Republican conservative I know. The media only cares about one thing, ratings and money. And if you have a personality that attracts ratings and makes people stay tuned and stay on the dial, guess what? They want you on the show. And LP, Libertarian Party's had some fine candidates, some fine gentlemen, and they had some fine libertarian views, some great libertarian ideas and ideals, but they've never had a bigger-than-life personality who is colorful, who is dynamic, who is high energy, who makes the media say, wow, I want that guy on my show, so we get ratings and advertisers pay us more, and therefore we make more money.
Do you know anybody like that?
I do.
Anyway,
I do.
One of the great things about having you here with me today on Hello World is we are live, and there are people watching, and we've got some people that want to ask a few questions.
Sure.
So
fire away.
This is one of the. By the way, I want to say one of the most powerful things about what we're doing is we're actually giving you a politician for you to meet.
A citizen politician. Not a typical politician.
But that's what I'm saying. We're not filtered through Fox, ABC. But this is actually, and I commend you for having the courage to come on and just answer questions like this. But we have some questions from people out there watching. This is from Dave in Maryland. He wants to know your position on tightening the borders, your immigration policy.
Well, I'll tell you what my position is. It's funny because I've always felt the Libertarian Party has a real serious problem with this issue. Their old-time libertarians believed in open borders. And that word's a really scary word. Libertarians, the whole idea of libertarian philosophy is that we believe in smaller government. If you were to have an open border and millions more illegal immigrants streamed into this country, you would have the biggest government you've ever seen in your life, the biggest welfare state you've ever seen in your life. You would have more entitlements, more food stamps, more aid to dependent children, more expenses on housing, schooling, hospital and medical expenses than you've ever seen. And what you would have eventually is a bankrupt United States of America. By the way, even without that, we're probably headed for a bankrupt United States of America. But it would happen much sooner. Those immigrants demand all those services, all those entitlements, and worse, they want Social Security even though they're illegal. You can't have open borders. It defies everything a libertarian believes in, and that's why the Libertarian Party has changed its platform and no longer recommends open borders. I'll tell you what I believe in. Open borders would be fine if we could end all welfare and entitlements tomorrow.
Right.
That'd be fine. I'd be all for it, because my grandmother and grandfather were immigrants from Germany and from Russia. And my grandfather, actually as recently as the late 1920s, died of a heart attack in the poor ward of a Brooklyn hospital. So I know exactly what it means. You know, I'm the son of a butcher, and I know exactly what it means to be a common man, to have a grandfather who died in America because he didn't have enough money to afford good medical care. I understand that. And I feel for immigrants, and I love immigrants, and I feel they're the lifeblood of America. But there's a big difference between coming here the right way and legally, and coming here illegally and jumping the front of the line. So I say open borders would be great if we could end welfare tomorrow and end everything that immigrants expect, Social Security and housing and medical and schooling, etc., etc. But being that that's not realistic, I'm with Ron Paul. We got to seal the border right now and stop anyone else from coming into our country and get a handle on that problem. Above all else, we've got to do that. Seal the border and end the problem today. And then tomorrow, now you've got 12, 15 million illegal immigrants still here in America. Then, once you seal the border and you see how that's working, then you can deal with the problem after that of who's already here. But first and foremost, seal the border to prevent the government from getting bigger and bigger and bigger and going bankrupt and getting bloated. And then you could deal with that problem. And the way I would deal with it then is with compassion, because I am a compassionate person. And I'd say that then we need to build some sort of a strict, limited pathway to citizenship for those who are already here. If they learn English proficiency, if they learn American history, if they've never committed a crime, and if they could show paycheck stubs that prove that they've paid their taxes, and they're willing to wait in line for a long time so they don't jump the line against people who did it the right way, then I think, and only then, we can give them some sort of a chance to be an American citizen. Because that's great. I tear up when I think of people that are, pledging that they're going to be American citizens. That's wonderful. Let's bring more of them on. But I'll tell you what we need in the area of immigration. Seal the border, but also open up the quotas for talented and educated high-tech immigrants. We should be letting more of them in because there are shortages of jobs for people with those kind of high-tech skills. So that's kind of the silly politics we have in this country, is that we have an open border that lets anybody in who isn't educated and needs all kinds of monetary help and entitlements, and then we tell you when you're talented and educated and we want you here, we tell you can't come in.
Right.
Does that make any sense? Is that a logical immigration policy? Of course not. So that's the answer, is seal the border, find a limited, strict pathway for those already here, stop the bleeding, don't let any more in, but open up big time for people who are talented and who are educated.
Another question.
Sure.
And these are coming from our viewers. What is the key to empowering small business?
Well, that's easy. Get government out of the way. That's the easiest answer I've ever had. Get government out of the way. You know what my economic program is, John and Dave? Get government out of the way. All the time. Let the genius of American small businessmen come out. Let the average American keep more of their own money. My program is so simple. Open your wallet, look inside, vote for me. I promise to stay the hell out of there. That's my economic answer. It's as simple as that. And so, if I was president tomorrow, number one, I would make sure that we limit spending to population growth plus inflation. Nothing beyond that rate. Number two, cut spending dramatically in all areas that are not of strategic national defense importance. Number three, there's something in Congress now called the Enumerated Powers Act. And what it basically says is, if it ain't authorized by the Constitution, you can't spend the money. I'm a Constitution guy like Ron Paul. And if it isn't authorized or explained or allowed by the Constitution, you have no right to spend the money. And I would cut and I would carve just like Thanksgiving morning with my turkey. It's as simple as that. And I also think what's important is we've got to move to either a low flat tax for all Americans, or we've got to move to a fair tax, what's called a fair tax, which is a national sales tax, which eliminates all income tax and gets rid of the IRS. We've got to move to one of those two. I personally believe a fair tax would be fabulous, except I think it would take a lot of years to institute to get it approved. And in the meantime, until the day we can make that happen, and I'll fight for it, I want a low flat tax, which they're using in the formerly communist Soviet Union states that are now so capitalist. Estonia, Georgia, Latvia, you name a state from the former Soviet Union, they're more capitalist, more free market, more democratic in their thinking than we are. And they've got low flat tax, the 12 to 14% rate, and their economies are booming. And here's the other big economic program I would institute that I have heard no other candidate ever mention. And here it is. I think that we owe a debt of gratitude to every American who has worked his or her whole life. And so I say the day that each American turns 55, I want to eliminate all tax on investments, which means no